Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in today's video, sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms, we're going to get a look at the Moon and Star update, which by the way, includes a feature that we suggested. You and I on stream wrote a letter to the community managers and boom, here it is on its way to the game, which is so hype. So we're going to start with that aspect of this Lost Kingdom optimization, and it's specifically this right here. After the update, resource points will no longer spawn in the Lost Kingdom's central province, known as Kingsland, before the central building opens. That's the Zig. In other words, there won't be all those resource nodes blocking your teleports anymore while you're trying to fight for Kingsland. You're welcome. I think that dramatically improves the Kingsland experience, right? Like, call me crazy, but the genesis of this feature was literally trying to teleport into Kingsland, feeling like it wasn't going great because there's all these resource nodes blocking where everybody's trying to go. And I stopped and I said, let's talk about this for a second, chat. Is it more fun to have to walk 5 minutes to get to the fighting? Because there's resource nodes blocking all the teleports that's near where the fighting is. The answer was, well, no, that's not very fun, right? And so we crafted a very constructive letter, passed it along to the community manager. We wrote it on stream, right? Like, and boom, here we are. Just a couple months later with this feature implemented. That's a really fast response time. And this is kind of a big deal, okay? I know you might be like, a couple months, Chisgule, how's that fast? Well, here's what it takes to actually build out a feature, okay? I know because I used to work in technology, but when I suggested this feature, they were already working on other things that they had planned. So for this to make it into the game, like, it's got to go through some amount of review from their game designers or product team or however they classify that, their producer, right? They need to decide it happens. They need to slot it into a release. It needs to actually get coded, tested, etc., and actually be put into the game. And we're about to have it put into the game, which is really cool. So I'm harping on all of this before talking about the rest of the patch note, because I got a really weird comment on Facebook, which said something like, I don't watch these stupid content creators because they don't make rant videos. And it's like, of course I don't make rant videos because I'm not an idiot. I actually have relationships with the community managers because I'm not an idiot. And like, okay, let me explain. Let me unpack that. Okay. Because I've been in this game for like 6 years. Okay, I could have taken an argumentative, combative stance with things I didn't like about the game. Instead, right, like, who do you think the developers want to listen to? Some guy who's constantly like ranting and raving and you know, swearing and, or someone who's like, hey, here's a very constructive and logical presentation of why you might consider a feature. And it's like, oh, okay. Who would have thought that if you present something constructively, it could show up in the game really quickly? Which is really, really cool. So I'm mentioning all of this, and I think this is actually really awesome because the last like 9 months, the developers have just been nailing updates where they listen to the players. And I jokingly have said, who'd have thought if you listen to your players, like, you get really good updates? But like, here we are. I would say the updates have been better than ever. And like, it's yet another feature that is going to make the game better, and they've been listening to players, which I think is a huge win, okay? It is a huge win. So yeah, I am very happy with that change, obviously, because I suggested it. So let's review some of the other stuff that's in here, because there's actually a lot that we need to talk about in this Moon and Star update. I'm just very passionate about that other point, especially because just this morning I was responding to a comment on Facebook where someone was like, yeah, I don't listen to these stupid content creators that don't criticize the developers more. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. I should just be a jackass, lose all credibility with the developers, and then actually nothing I say to them will make any difference because they're just going to ignore me. And like, of course I get passionate, but like, I just do it constructively, mostly. I would say the community managers are actually very patient with me because I have strong opinions. Anyways, I just don't rant about them like an idiot. Take part in Ramadan event series to win amazing rewards. By Star and Moon, log in every day to get buy bars and Mehmed. Okay, well, Mehmed's cool for early game players. Acquire star candles and use them in your, okay, I was going to say famous Ramadan, but I don't know what this is. Fanus. Okay, hold on. We're just going to look this up real quick. What is this? We're going to learn something today, chat. I don't know how to pronounce it. What is the meaning of Fanus and Ramadan? It represents light guiding the way. That's cool. In Egypt, during the holy month of Ramadan, the streets are illuminated at night by colorful fanus lanterns. Some say the tradition began with the pharaohs. Wow, okay, bet. All right. Very cool. See, I learned something. Once you've used a number of star candles each day, you can send your allies a gift. You can exchange crescent candlesticks for an exclusive holiday-themed decoration and name plaque. Light of the Halal, purchase to earn a special avatar Firebird. Chat with your city's commanders to learn more about Ramadan customs and earn rewards. I do think it's really cool when the game incorporates like real things. And like, actually, I learned something here. So I think that is very cool. New season of Conquest Story. Keener Blades. Pioneer event coming soon. Okay, bet. New KvK format. Elite units and mastery skills. As you progress through the Lost Kingdom Chronicles and Coalition technology tree, you'll be able to convert your units into new elite units and unlock unique active skills. Well, that's a big deal. Unique active skills on certain units? Okay. Coalition technology tree. Complete various tasks to earn tech tokens, which you can use to unlock new combat tech in the Coalition technology tree. That to me feels like light versus darkness, which I'm not opposed to coalition-based technology. I think that can be fine. Arena occupation. New arena holy sites come with unique occupation mechanic. As your coalition continues to occupy an arena, your occupation level for that arena will increase. All members of your coalition will receive a buff based on your occupation level. Oh. Even if you lose control of that arena. Interesting. Well, that seems really important, that there's going to be all these different things you need to fight for. I'm not opposed to this. This looks interesting to me. Brand new map. Battle it out over a brand new map featuring 6 camps struggling for supremacy. I'm always hyped for new KvK stories. Keener Blades seems cool to me, and I look forward to playing this. Probably not as a pioneer, unless my Restart Kingdom does it, but I think probably both my accounts, main account and restart account, would aspire to be in KvK by the time that's sort of showing up. Lost Kingdom optimization. Lost Kingdom domain optimization adjusted the domain slot allocation when adjusting your alliance's battle roster. Governors who've left your alliance will no longer be automatically removed, instead must be manually removed. That seems good. Like, anything that makes domain registration easier seems good. Each domain now has separate kingdom titles. Okay, that's fine. Improve the logic for determining whether or not to split a kingdom into domains. Okay, seems good. Kingdoms will now be split into domains based on their activity level rather than power of their active governors. Interesting. That probably is a good change because, like, right now I feel like most kingdoms only have 1 alliance worth of players and like 5+ alliances worth of farms that they bring into KvK. And like, I would argue the more we diminish the role of farms in KvK, the better KvKs will be. I would rather like KvKs happen faster and more frequently than like we spend weeks slugging it out with farm troops, personally. Modified the effects of certain holy sites in the Heroic Anthem Season of Conquest story. Also added more barbarian camps and rebalanced the different player camps. Huh. That's kind of neat. I mean, I used to care about barbarian camps and I just completely don't now, which I think there's an opportunity there. Like, it's great that I don't have to care, but also, like, I spent a lot of time caring about the game, and the reason I don't care is because the reward is not there, I feel like, for the time invest and the effort invest. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Over the course of a year, it's a pretty meaningful amount of materials, last I checked, for the barbarian sites around your kingdom. After the update, resource points no longer spawn in the central province. We talked about that. Huge win. What an easy solution, right? We came up with this on stream where it was like, why do the resource nodes need to be in Kingsland before the Zig opens? They don't. So until the Zig opens, no resource nodes. You're almost certainly fighting for the Zig anyways. And if you're not fighting for the Zig, you had a stupid KvK, so you can just wait. Sorry to say, but like... A properly balanced KvK, there will still be fighting until about when the Zig opens, right? Bro, you can just gather in the other provinces. Like, for a couple days, it's going to be fine. Added a brief video intro for the first time you enter Season 1 Lost Kingdom. Cool. Shorten the 3rd phase of Eve of the Crusade by 12 hours, replacing it with a 12-hour announcement phase. Eve of the Crusade event items will now be removed at the end of the Lost Kingdom rather than the end of each stage. Okay. If you do not receive a slot for your current Lost Kingdom, you will no longer automatically use your crystal chests. Oh, whoops. And you will not be able to acquire crystal chests during that Lost Kingdom. Okay. If you purchase a premium crystal supply chest during the Season of Conquest, you will unlock the instant research feature. What is this? Instant research feature? That's neat. I don't know what that does, but I'm interested. I'm interested. I assume you still need research speedups, but if you don't, what are we going to do with them? In Season of Conquest Lost Kingdoms, the time to gain an additional Bastion quest refresh has been reduced from 10 minutes to 5 minutes. Good. Will only take effect in stories that begin after the update. Okay. I mean, some number of people really just sit there refreshing Bastion quests. I don't have the patience for it, man. I really don't. Arc of Osiris and Osiris League updates. Osiris League Season 9 is about to start. Very cool. Battlefield skill rebalancing. These changes will take effect in Arc of Osiris Golden Battlefield, practice matches, and custom matches after the update. They will take effect in Osiris League after the start of the playoffs. Oh, interesting. They adjusted the parameters for Running Charge, Swift March, War Drums, Mystical Formation, and Total Vision. Hard Push now costs 2 energy bars, and its parameters have been adjusted accordingly. Desert Storm now deals damage based on both a fixed damage factor and the target's max units. Parameters adjusted. We'll have to see what these adjustments are. Reduce the max number of caravan visits for the stocking up skill. Its parameters have been adjusted accordingly. So, look, the skill rebalancing here is critical to defining what the meta for Osiris League will be. So the details of this will be very interesting. In addition, new skills also dramatically change the way the meta works. So let's see what we get here. 4 new skills. These changes will take effect in the Golden Battlefield, practice, and custom matches. They'll take effect in Osiris League after the start of the playoffs. See the in-game skill descriptions for more details. Inferno. After a brief warning period, the area around an allied troop bursts into flames. Half of the troops in the flames, chosen at random regardless of team, lose a percentage of their max units every few seconds. There are some really devastating things you can do with that. I don't know how to feel about this one yet. It is just weird. It is very weird. I think you're going to see really, if a team can pull this off, you're going to see really weird behavior where all the teams group up to fight for the middle, but then you literally light your own player on fire and run them into the enemies with Inferno, and you use Shajar and Constantine to live long enough, and there's something really weird that's going to happen, I feel, from this, and I'm honestly eager to see what it is, but I can't say yet if I think I will personally enjoy that. Time Warp resets the cooldown for all your battlefield skills and reduces the energy cost for your next one. Oh my god, that is going to be really busted. Time Warp is going to be really busted because theoretically you might be able to get 2 to the deaths in a single match, right? Depends on how much of a time and cost reduction there is here. Sun Sailor allows you to place 2 solar, I don't know what this is, barks? I don't know how to pronounce that even. I want to say barbecues, but it's obviously not that. But 2 solars on the map. Troops, regardless of team, get within range of one of the solar... Let's just look up how to pronounce this. How to pronounce barks? What is this? It just says barks, B-A-R-K-S. So a Google search says this is a ship with 3 masts. So I'm not tracking here. 2 solar ships. Troops, regardless of team, that get within range of the solar ship will be teleported to the other solar ship and gain a temporary bonus to march speed. Okay, so I don't know. Maybe this is like Marvel, where Thor, gets beamed up or whatever. You go from one place to another. Troops, regardless of team, they get within range of one of these things will be teleported to the other one and gain a temporary bonus to march speed. It's very interesting. That's very interesting. You go from one to the other. I mean, it's like Master Strategist, but it applies to both teams. Huh. Okay. Nomarch. What is this? What even is a Nomarch? A governor of Nome, or a province in ancient Egypt. The word comes from the Greek word nomarches. I mean, that's thematic here. While the skill is active, it takes less time for your team to capture buildings, and your team earns more points from occupying them. Oh, that seems like, building strategy. You go for this. In addition, allied troops will deal more damage when attacking buildings and take less damage when garrisoning them. That seems really strong. Okay. Reduced the thickness, of march path lines to make them less distracting or obstructive. That's interesting. Okay. I wouldn't have expected this, but I guess in a mid fight, or I don't know. I don't know that I'm for it. Anything that clears up clutter in the UI, I'm for it. Okay, so event optimization. What do we got? Realm of Mystique updates. I like this game mode. Added a new auto cast setting. When enabled, your roll skills will automatically be cast against suitable targets. Yeah, to some extent, it's like kind of cool you can auto cast, but also I would kind of prefer like if skills were used like skillfully rather than just on cooldown. But I think they're not wrong that a lot of skills just get used on cooldown the way that it's designed. Added troop automation. If someone on your team goes idle, the game will automate their troops to continue fighting. The AI will choose who to attack and what skills to cast based on the behavior of the other team members. Hey, yo! So basically your allies get botted if somebody abandons you. I mean, because this event could take a while, like more than 30 minutes, and then they could just leave you suddenly for no reason, I think that is good. I think this is a real issue with random people that you play with in pickup groups, right? You can now change your role after entering the Realm of Mystique if you haven't yet dispatched a troop. I think that's a huge win. Because like you get in and it's like, bro, this team comp sucks. How do I fix it? And now you can. Champions of Olympia updates. Updated the configure commander's interface in balance mode. You can now adjust your commander's equipment, talents, and armaments. Okay, cool. The player with the highest contribution score on the losing side of Champions of Olympia will now earn extra activity points. The Hierophant Valley map is now available for ranked matches. Optimize the point acquisition for Hierophant flags and the Hierophant Valley map. I mean, big picture, I feel like I should be obsessed with Champions of Olympia, but I'm not. And I would like to be, but that means I should actually like try to play it. And I keep saying I would be interested in doing that, but I haven't. So maybe I should do that. I don't know. Would you actually watch me play that? I feel like the answer is no, is the weirdness there. Let me know in the comments. Feature optimization, commander strategy optimization, simplified skill descriptions, added simplified versions of every commander skill. Oh, that's kind of a big deal. You can freely toggle between the simplified and full versions of each commander skill. Skill preview, commander pages for commanders you haven't recruited yet will now have a short video clip showcasing their skills. That's very cool. This is one of those features that is common these days. I think in gaming is like they show you a preview of what a skill looks like, but also this is in Call of Dragons and now we're getting it here. So I'm kind of unsurprised. Typically though, in Call of Dragons, it's for the artifacts, not the commanders, but that doesn't really matter. Anyways, iconic 5 equipment effect adjustments. Oh, this is by the way, something else I gave feedback on, which is that when we were live streaming, I think the release of Arthur and combo damage, we together observed that, hey, what do you know? The iconic tier 5 equipment doesn't have combo as a part of the effects. So what's the real on this? Shattering Strike. Damage bonus can now apply to combo damage. Okay, cool. Perplexing Ploy can now be triggered by combo attack damage. Good. Wily. Damage reduction can now apply to Smite. Oh, that's good. That's good. I mean, I'm a Smite guy, so it hurts me, but I think overall it's good. It makes the tier 5 iconic like better, which I think is a good thing. And combo attack damage as well. Oh, good. Shattering Strike range version. So we got the other version up top, the range version here. Damage bonus now also applies to range combo attack damage. Okay. Bewildering Barrage can now be triggered by range combo damage. Fixed and incorrect description of the Wailing Wolf gauntlets. I'm going to have to go look at those, figure out what the heck that was. But, you know, overall, I think that's actually really cool for those wondering kind of what are we talking about here? In the end game, you get this iconic tier 5 equipment. And as soon as Arthur landed in game, it was like, but wait a minute. These effects don't say anything about combo. And Wily now including smite damage is a big deal. Mitigating smite damage is going to be good. Now, for a lot of people, obviously, this is not going to be relevant because they don't have these skills. Here's the Furious Strike. The Perplexing Ploy, I think, is on gloves, although obviously it's not the infantry gloves. Is that... Which gloves have that? Probably Cav? It's got to be Cav, right? There it is. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. There were a couple other effects that I'd have to look at here. Oh, Shattering Strike. Right. Yeah, that one. That should apply to, the combo damage and the. Yeah, I think this is good. I'm feeling good about this. And that is a suggestion we also made constructively, by the way. Who would have thought that like if you present things constructively. Now I'm just being sarcastic. Okay. Yeah, again, I'll just emphasize that the developers are just, I think, extremely receptive to constructive feedback, which is huge W's for this game and for players. Optimized attack march logic. Attack marching troops will now fight smarter. I would consider using attack march more if that's true. They will now always prioritize nearby enemies and will be much harder to lure behind enemy lines. I would genuinely consider using attack march more, and I think this is huge W's for the state of the game. I actually think this could be a big deal. I think this could be really, really, really good. I'm very interested in this. I'm very, very interested in this. Attack march is a feature where you target behind enemy lines and you say, go this way and attack whatever's in your way. And that's really relevant in fights that are very big where there's lots of players, but instead you got to micromanage your marches. And I think this could be very interesting. I added the ability to reserve defender class kingdom titles. In the kingdom, oh, this is interesting. This is the title bot thing, right? In the kingdom titles interface, you can tap the magnifying glass next to each defender title to open the title reservation page, select the time you want to reserve. I think the defender titles are like the buffs, not the debuffs, right? And if a king or ruler approves your application, your title will be automatically granted to you during the selected time slot. This is a huge W. And the reason this is a win is because any time that kingdom leaders have to spend on BS activities, also known as administering the kingdom, really sucks because they're like chores. You have to do them because your kingdom expects you to do them, but like nobody thanks you really for doing them. Or if they do, like it's just expected of you to be a competent kingdom. And like, wouldn't the king's time be better spent on literally anything else that couldn't be automated? The answer is yes. So the devs have automated this, which is a win. Kings and rulers can choose which titles are open to applications, enable automatic approval, and set duration of each title reservation. Huge win. Huge win. I've said this for literally years, that anything you can do to reduce the burnout of the leaders that make the game fun for the players is a huge win, and it is a multiplier on the happiness of players. I think this is a huge W. And look, I used to spend literally 4 hours at a time giving out titles back when I think it was the general that gave training speed, and only the king could do it, and I was the king of the kingdom back in the day. Man. Those, and I would sit there for 4 hours. It was nuts. But if I spent 4 hours doing literally anything else, right? Like for the kingdom, it would have been more meaningful of a time investment. Because there's certain things that like only the king can do to improve the state of the kingdom. And it, this sort of activity is anyone could do, right? Anyways, quality of life improvements. Added a quick dispatch button to the state forum. Okay, cool. Maybe you can like quick dispatch like the first 8 quests or whatever. Added a travel 10x button to the state forum. I'm not mad about it. I think that's good. In fact, let me say the opposite. Anytime a game disrespects the value of my time, I get extremely frustrated. And I didn't particularly feel like traveling was disrespecting my time. So I'll say that this is a case of the opposite, where they're being respectful of my time, where they're saying, hey, I'll let you travel 10x. That's good. I do feel like being forced to watch like stories is kind of annoying. Like I'd like to have that removed and be skippable. I don't think that there's a way to do that right now. So that would be my feedback on that one. But anyways, optimize searching for resource points. If another governor's troop is already on its way to gather from a resource point, or the resource point has low reserves, it will be given a lower search priority. Bro, literally, I think almost every other game I've played in this genre does this. So this is a huge win. This is a huge win. And this is one of those like really small things that like in hindsight, I can't believe we waited this long to do, but I'm glad that it's happening. And the reason is that like, let's just talk about the consequences of 2 people going to the resource node. And it's the same one. In young kingdoms, people get so pissed at each other over this. They get so frustrated. I remember when I started playing this game that like people would cut off other people going to the same resource node and they'd lose their shit, man. So I think this is a really good change. And I think it's common in the genre to see this, and a huge W that we're getting it. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like They probably already did a lot of optimization for this behind the scenes, but just didn't talk about it, because I can't remember the last time I searched for a resource point and it was something that someone else was going to, but that could just be that, I don't know, I just got weird results or something. Anyways, this is a huge win. This is awesome. Remaster optimization. After the update, a pioneer test for a remastered map will begin. Ooh, it's only going to be in certain kingdoms, and you can switch back to the classic map anytime. Remastered various Season of Conquest stories. Cool. You can choose if you want remastered or not during registration. Okay, and you can switch back to classic map. In the remastered maps, holy sites, runes, and friendly troops will now be shown as an outline if they're being blocked by a mountain. That's really cool. Good. Filters in the battle overview layer will now be consistent with strategic filter views. In addition, alliance fortresses can now be seen in the battle overview layer. Alliance optimization. Added a search feature to the alliance members page. Thank God. I can't tell you how many times I've scrolled past someone I was looking for in the alliance and this is huge. Bro, I feel like I'm saying things and people are taking notes. Cool. This is good. Increase the alliance pass list. Bro, huge win. I've definitely given this feedback. Increase the alliance pass list to 200 governors. Why is this a win? Anytime a leader is administering an alliance and not doing something actually that takes brain power and competence and skill, which these leaders have, even if it's just like building community with their members, it's a drain on their time. And like, yes, managing the pass list is important. So important that that's what the leaders have to do. But the fact that now you make 200 governors on that list is like, okay, cool. We don't have to think about it anymore. You put the good actors on the pass list. The bad actors can't get into the alliance. And we've just made it so that players and leaders no longer have the frustration of like, shit, I got to check the door for the alliance. Or players are they're sitting there like, come on, get me in. Like, bro, if you've been waiting at the door of an alliance, waiting to get accepted, you know the frustration. So I'm mentioning that like to illustrate just how dramatic this change is. Honestly, I feel like there's like 3 to 5 changes in this update where they actually have taken a look at like things that seem really small, but actually are major emotional things for players. And they've just gone and fixed them. And if they constantly do that, that's huge wins for the game. Alliance leaders can now send an alliance invitation to the Kingdom chat channel. All right. Added a quick approval setting. If enabled, alliance leaders and officers will receive unobtrusive notification whenever somebody applies to join the alliance. Good. I think that's good. Like, how do you know someone's at the door? Well, it should be a lot more clear. And I think this is really good. When removing a member from the alliance, you can now provide a specific reason. Bro, I swear to you, this is so good. So the reason you wouldn't do this is because somebody's going to clown somebody. Like, they're going to say, you're a piece of shit. This is the reason, right? Like, we know this is going to happen. But this is so important because, okay, sure, somewhere, sometime, somebody's going to be a jackass. Like, there's nothing you can do to stop them from being a jackass. But at least now, in the 99% of time, when there's actually a real reason where it's like, hey, like, we need the space right now in the alliance for active fighters. Or like, hey, we, notice that you're not as active as you ought to be for our alliance. Please apply to some other alliance. Like, yeah, you could go out of your way to like send a message to somebody. But when you get the mail that says like, hey, jackass, you got kicked from your alliance. Like, I know it doesn't use those words, but that's how players feel. Like, if we're being honest, right? Like, even if you know you're going to get kicked from the alliance to make space for active fighters, if you see this mail, I have seen so many people lose their shit because they're like, I got kicked, F these guys, It makes people so mad. And this fixes it. And I'm mentioning all of that because I'm praising this update. Because again, it's one of these things that like seems inconsequential. It's like, come on, it's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal. And it's so simple. And what a good fix. Added a development overview graph, which you can find by opening your profile and tapping more info. The graph will show you your overall development in various aspects of the game and how you compare to other governors. This is cool. This is cool. I've seen this in a lot of games in this genre. And I don't know really how this will inform what choices I would make for growing my account, but maybe it would tell me like, for example, your armaments are weak relative to the other aspects of your account, or your equipment is weak relative to other aspects of your account. The way that I've seen this be very effective is in understanding the strengths and weaknesses of your account compared to other players. And the more vectors we get for account improvement, the more relevant this becomes and potentially guiding a newer player in what the heck they're supposed to do, which I think is always a win, getting a new player to the end game and feeling confident about what they're doing. Added language-based chat channels, which include all kingdoms in your current season. In these channels, you can chat with other governors who speak your language. Interesting. Other changes. Added a new kingdom bugle item. You can use this item to make a statement in your kingdom chat channel, which will be pinned to the top of the chat. Added a new lost kingdom bugle item. If you're in season 1 or later, you can use this item to make a statement in your lost kingdom chat, which will be pinned to the top of the chat. I do think these can be abused. I think there's a lot of risk to these, but as long as these bugles don't like flash across your screen and in a way that cannot be dismissed, I think they're fine. Maybe. Like if what this does is it pins something to the top of Lost Kingdom chat or pins something to the top of your kingdom chat, but doesn't actually like disrupt your screen, I think they could be fine. I am pretty worried about these. I think they're very abusable. I have seen items like this in other games, and the implementation of them was perfectly fine. So I think these could be fine. I think there's just a lot of room for trolling here. And, for a brief moment in time, they had bugles where you could put a message on screen that was not dismissible, that went to every player in the game. And the simple thing I will say about that is, thank God they removed that quickly. Because that has to be the single most abusable thing I've ever seen put into this game. And it's gone now. So at least I think it's gone. I don't know. This is the new format of a bugle, I guess. Yeah, I mean, the thing about bugles is like, what value are they actually adding? And the way I've seen these add value in other games is at the start of a like new server, like for alliance recruitment is the way I've seen it done. Or like I've seen people say the equivalent of like, don't forget to do your Sunset Canyon, and they send it in like a kingdom-wide thing, and people are thankful for that. So there are positive implementations of this, but I think there's a lot of room for abuse, so we'll see how it's implemented. Epic quality engineering blueprints will be added to the Tavern equipment chest after Season 2, either the Crusade. Prime Ragnar will soon be added to the daily special offer bundles. Oh! Only in Season of Conquest Kingdoms. Very interesting. Daily special offer is like very, very, very obtainable. It takes time, but it's like the actually one of the highest value bundles in the game is the daily special offer. So that is really high value for players to obtain. I wonder if Arthur will end up there as well in like 3 months from now. In Season 3 Kingdoms, the list of reward commanders for the Mightiest Governor and Wheel of Fortune events have been expanded to include all commanders. Cool. Yeah, I mean, they need them. If you've built the state forum, you'll be able to purchase conversion stones in the shop, which can be used to convert armaments. Ooh. I mean, this is going to have to use the epic currency, but like, wow, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. Getting more conversion stones is a huge win for the game. Huge win for the game. Conversion stones are very expensive, but armament conversion is god tier levels of power. It's the single best thing they've done for armaments since the release of armaments. Better, in my opinion, although necessary as well, along with, the re-rolling. This is big. Both of those are actually huge for armaments. This is big. Optimize the visuals and interactivity of World Wanderer China. All right. I think that's like the history thing that's optional that you can do. Corrected the description for Edward of Woodstock. Bro. Oh my God. I love the transparency here, so I'm not going to be critical of the transparency. Anytime the developers do something and it's a ninja change, players lose their shit and they lose trust. Because it's like, anytime you change literally anything without announcing it to a player, then they assume you're changing everything without announcing it to a player. That you could change whatever you wanted and it'd be a secret and they wouldn't have known. And it just feels to a player like a sneaky thing that's happening. So you really should, in my opinion, never make changes without announcing what they are, even if it seems stupid. And like, this is one of those things where like, here we are like 5 years later talking about Edward of Woodstock's kills. And like, it's great that they're fixing it. I think it's great that they're announcing that they're fixing it, because doing it in secret is No, don't do that. But what happens here? The rage reduction for Archer's Honor only triggers when Edward uses it. Well, that's interesting. So basically, Edward of Woodstock has a 300 rage reduction on his active skill, but apparently that only applies when Edward uses his active skill, not when the army uses any active skill, aka the secondary commander or whoever you paired him with uses their skill. I mean, that's a big deal, but the change is purely textual and has no impact on the actual combat effect. Yeah. I mean, it's helpful for players understanding, and I deeply appreciate the transparency that the devs put into this one, because it's been 5 years. How are we only changing this now? But at the same time, I think, again, very praiseworthy to just, even for something silly, to be sharing we changed it. Your city hall now needs to be level 10 to spectate other kingdoms. All right, cool. Again, I think the developers have been on a tear of huge wins. And I think this update is way better than most players will give it credit for, in large part because of the changes they're making to things that frustrate players that don't seem like a big deal, but actually are a huge deal. They're things that experienced players learn to tolerate, like getting kicked out of your alliance and expecting that at times, but new players lose their shit. And I think, there's half a dozen or more changes that address those huge pain points emotionally that are, end game players learn to tolerate, that I think are absolutely fantastic. And then a bunch of other things in here I really like too. This is huge. I love this update. It's very strong. Obviously, it's not as flashy as getting, King Arthur, but I still would rate it as an outstanding update. GG. Devs have been on a very good tear of good updates here. Huge. You enjoyed the vid, throw a like on here, subscribe to the channel. If you want to see the live stream where I feel like in the middle of the stream, I stopped and I wrote the message on stream where I gave very constructive feedback about not putting resource nodes in Kingsland until after Kingsland was over, put the card in the end screen, right? And if you want to actually be a part of that experience of hey, we're playing the game, we found a thing, we give constructive feedback, drop in a stream. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies. Take care, everybody.